If you feel maxed out and exhausted right now, I want to ask you one question. What are you doing about it? Because most founders are doing nothing and they stay passive, which is why my intention for this video is to give you the sequence of actions that you can follow to confront burnout as established online business owner. So the next time when you feel depleted or exhausted, you just don't wait there and hope until it's gone. Quite the opposite. You will know exactly which layer is exhausted. Then you will know how to identify the right layer and what to do about it. So that way you get to your full capacity in minutes instead of days. And before we start, I'm not just a random guy on the internet. I have actually spent 12 years of my life researching, practicing, and learning personal development, specifically neuroscience, psychology, and behavioral change. And 6 of those years I have been full-time online business owner with the business that I started in 2017 and closed it in 2021 because I was lacking the very skills that I'm teaching others so they can lead without losing it. And just for your information, the way how my brain works is through the picture. So you will see me drawing and also you will see me reading because I spend a lot of time writing my thoughts on the paper, so when I speak to you, I actually speak with accuracy. Now, what we're gonna do together? We're gonna go through these 3 phases. Look at it as a big picture. Number 1 is awareness. This step is the one that 95% of the market actually knows about, and they're stuck there. This is the awareness step. They just know they're burnout. The second step, we're gonna identify the layer. Let's get nuanced. Let's get more sophisticated about this problem. And the third one, we're gonna use the formula to confront this. This is what I'm gonna walk you through in this video. Just to remind you, I also have created a worksheet for you and you can find it in the description below so we can do it together. While I walk you through all of it, you will have your own document that you can print out, you can write on, or you can just have in your hands while you will go through this. So grab that worksheet now and let's do it together. And I want to clarify something. This video is not about burnout. It is actually about the sequence of steps that allows you to confront that emotional state when you are exhausted and depleted as a business owner. So you don't stay there with awareness, but you actually have the steps to do to confront that, shift it, and get back to your business. That's what we're gonna do. That's what this video is all about. In order for us to do that, you and we both need to be on the same page. So here is my definition of burnout. It's the mismatch between how much you can handle at the moment and how much you are asked to deliver, which leads to progressive depletion of the person who is responsible for delivering these demands. And I'm inviting you to take this definition and run with it throughout this video. Now, what is the sequence? Well, it all starts with this step number 1. It's the awareness. It's when you say, I'm burnt out. Cool, what are you gonna do about it? Well, if you're like 95% of business owners I interact with who are in a leadership position, who are constantly demanded to make decisions, and the frequency of making decisions on a weekly basis is so high that they are really exhausted and depleted and maxed out, you will say, I'm exhausted, and that's it. Now we need you to go further, because after awareness, we need to go deeper. We need to be more sophisticated. So here is how most founders are approaching this problem or the situation. So this is the old way, and this is going to be new way for you. Now this is the old way, and it is passive approach. What do I mean by that? Well, when I look at it, the way how most business founders actually approaching this or trying to resolve this burnout after the statement, like I am burned out, I am exhausted, here's what they do. Wait, I'm gonna wait until it passes, or they're gonna sleep on it. Hopefully tomorrow is going to be different. Or they're gonna be drifting or disassociating from the situation. This is old way, this is passive way, and they take it like this is it. This is how I'm dealing with the burnout right now. That's not good. Here's what I'm inviting you to do. We're gonna do new way, and this is confronting approach. Because founders who are using this approach, after they have that awareness, after they realize that they're burnout, exhausted, or depleted, this is what they do. This is how they proactively using confronting approach to resolve the burnout. They're gonna identify the right layer. Then they're gonna confront it with the right tools, with the right strategies, and then they're gonna just resolve it. Now, as an established online business owner who is currently in leadership position and the level of frequency of making decisions for you is very high, ask yourself this question: can you even afford to use this passive approach to resolve this burnout when you are depleted or exhausted? Because last time I checked and I was in front of a room of online business owners, all of them would rather choose confronting approach, and they will confront this emotional state of being depleted, exhausted, and completely maxed out within 10 to 15 minutes if they would have the tool. And here is the thing, I don't know if you have noticed, but I'm giving you the tool right now. And right now I will just do the wild guess, and I will assume that you want to do the same, that you want to confront this emotional state and get back to the business. So let's get you out of this passive approach as soon as possible. And how are we gonna do it? Let's start with the step number 2, which is all about identifying the right layer for you. So here is how we're gonna do it. Well, first of all, let's get a little bit of nuance here, because when you say burnout, what you are actually saying is that I'm just exhausted. My emotional needs are neglected. Okay, that's it. And here is the caveat. Burnout is not either I'm burnout or I'm not. There are actually nuances and layers of the burnout. So let me ask you this: which layer of the burnout are you talking about? Because we have emotional layer, mental layer, and physical layer. Unfortunately, if we identify the layer, then we can match the right strategies for you to fulfill your need and nourish that part of you. And this is why most founders have been using the physical activities, like the physical layer, when they are mentally depleted. I'm gonna give you an example. They're gonna sleep on it. They're gonna take a nap when they're emotionally exhausted. So this is why it's really important to first identify, after you know that you are exhausted and depleted and burned out, the next step is to know which layer are you talking about, which layer are you referring to. Because when you do that, we can actually craft a perfect strategy for you that takes you 10 minutes to fulfill, to do, which shortens the entire gap between you feeling off and you feeling sharp, energized, and recharged. So what is the layer you're talking about? And here's the thing, usually this is enough. This is enough for business owners. When I tell them that actually there are 3 layers, they can already tell me which layer they are at. However, I'm gonna go deeper. I'm gonna give you some examples here of symptoms, but this is not generalizing. This is not something that you need to take on. It's more like guidance of nudging you towards which. Let's identify your layers right now. If it's mental, then you repeating your thoughts about task or your performance as a business owner. Also, you have decreased focus. You are black or white thinking. So either if I rest, I will fall behind. There is nothing in between. There is or nothing. You have difficulty generating ideas. Your brain feels foggy, confused, and you are reactive instead of responding. This falls into the mental category. If this is something that you are experiencing right now, there is high chance that you are in the mental capacity, and you need to then use tactics for mental exhaustion, not emotional, not physical. Next one, emotional. Emotional layer is when things that used to excite you now feels flat or meh. Like there is nothing. Like what's the point? What's the reason? Why am I even doing this? The second thing under the emotional layer is that you are snapping at people or constantly feeling drained by people. When you have a conversation, like you don't want to deal with people. The third signal is that constantly thinking, I should be doing more. So you are already depleted emotionally, but you keep thinking that you should be doing more. There is a little bit of shame, a little bit of guilt of doing more, not doing enough, I'm a bad person, there is something wrong with me, that type of situation. And the last signal is that you cannot tell what's wrong. You just know that something is off. That's the emotional layer. If something is like that, like you are literally depleted emotionally, this would be something that you might be experiencing. And the last one, the physical layer, is that you need caffeine to just function and go through your day. Extreme amount of caffeine. I'm talking about 2-3 coffees, extra matcha, extra energy drink, just to go through your day. You cannot rest even when you are tired. That's the physical one. You're skipping meals or search for some confronting food, for dopamine food, which is chocolate, which are fast food and all sorts of sweets. The best way how you can really recognize this one is when you hit the gym too hard and you're literally exhausted. So we have mental, emotional, physical layer. Which one are we? And now let's finish it with the third step. Actually, we're gonna use the formula that is allowing you to confront this properly and finish it, get rid of that emotional depletion or physical or mental depletion, and get you back to the business and make the decisions that you need to do. First, we're gonna identify the correct layer of your burnout. Then we're gonna identify your neglected emotional need. And last, we're gonna take action. Now, before I'm gonna walk you through this sequence, these 3 steps of the last formula, I want to give you a little caveat here. The reason why people are struggling with this is because they're skipping this part right here. They identify a layer sometimes, and if they do, they just do the action without identifying their neglected emotional need. And this is crucial, because when you forget to do this, when you ignore this part, the neglected emotional need, here's what's going to happen. You take action and it backfires. You end up being misunderstood by others because while you have anxiety and freaking out inside, that was not the right place to do it. That's why most of the time when you do the action, you fear the fear and you do the action, that's when you end up misunderstood or misread. And the last, which is the worst, they use their business as a tool to fulfill their neglected emotional need, and they end up launching a new offer or new service out of the blue. They start changing their messaging or whatnot, and that is happening just because the founder end up being maxed out and exhausted, and right now they had a strong desire to feel acknowledged, to feel wanted, to feel seen, to feel appreciated for something already. So let that sink in. Let's just not do it anymore. So let me show you how to avoid that from happening again. The right layer you already identified. It was either mental, physical, or emotional exhaustion. Then we're gonna identify your neglected emotional need. And then I'm gonna show you how to do the action from my own life and the way how I'm using it personally, so that you will see exactly how this formula plays out. Now, for the emotional need, if you find yourself that you need to brush up your emotional vocabulary, inside your workbook you will find the list of most common emotional needs that can help you identify your needs right now, especially when you're exhausted, depleted, or maxed out. Now, the last action of the formula is to take action. Now, how we are going to take action? Well, first of all, we need to connect the emotional need to the action. This is going to be very individual to you, and that's why at Impactful Leader I don't do group coaching right now. All I'm doing is private coaching for founders, because everything is individual to you, and this type of work at this level needs really customization and tailored support to you, the guidance that only can be delivered on one-on-one level. So I cannot tell you specifically what would be your action right now, but here's what I'm gonna do instead. I'm gonna give you my own example from my personal life when I'm going through this experience. And also you're gonna find this in your worksheet. So again, download it. You don't even need to give me email. Download it and just use it. So this is my own example. As you can see, these are the layers: emotional need and action. Now, when it comes to my mental layer, the sign for me is my thoughts. So every single time when everything feels open, vague, like I'm in the clouds and everything is chaotic, that's how I know I'm talking about mental layer and I'm exhausted there. My need, from the list of the needs that you have found in the worksheet, I identified that when that happens, this is happening to me is because my brain is searching for certainty. That's how I know if I'm in the mental layer, I'm looking for certainty. Now, here's the thing. I had to really get creative and find what works for me and what activity brings me the certainty. Now here's what it is. The action that I need to take every single time when I'm in this position, I need to compress my thoughts into physical shape and form. Bear with me, I know it just makes sense for me when I say it this way. It doesn't make sense to you and that's okay, but it does make sense to me because I just have a meaning behind it. So here's what I mean by that. I just need to use the Google document, put those thoughts into categories, put those thoughts into the compressed version, and it's like debris for me. So I need to know what's the function of this, what am I trying to get out of this, what are the things that I need to know, what could go wrong, what can I do to avoid that. But that's personally to me. That's why I've told you the action might be different for you, because this is what works for me and my brain. The next one, my sign for emotional layer, is that everything feels unsettled. I have low level anxiety and I am anxious. Now what I need in that moment is predictability, and the way how I'm doing it is through taking action, which is for me predetermined actions or future pacing. I know what is going to happen. First step, second step, and third step. It's like knowing the ripple effect. That's what works for me. All of that are the strategies that I use personally when I'm in that emotional layer and I need more predictability. And for the physical layer, my sign is that I'm sluggish and I'm drifting out of the routine. In that moment, I need consideration and presence most of the time. And the way how I'm getting it through the action is I'm getting food, I'm getting buffer time for myself when it comes to projects, and I take a nap, like extra nap. That's it. Now here's the thing, it's not groundbreaking, but that's not what we are talking about. Again, you are not the newbie who just expecting the life-changing activities and life-changing miracles and transformations. No, you are established online business owner, which means that you already know that it's all about those small tweaks, small adjustment that's actually changing the way how you interact, how you compound your results over time, and your performance is increasing because there is small adjustment in the things that you do. So the reason why I'm sharing this with you is because these actions are specifically made for me, because I took time to identify them. These activities helps me fulfill my neglected emotional needs that were depleted from the right layer that I have identified. And if I don't do that, these are the consequences I have to face. My attention is scattered to million pieces. Like instead of focusing on business and building the business, I'm thinking about completely random stuff for days. Now I'm maxed out and I cannot focus, I cannot be sharp or being energized throughout the day, despite the fact that I drink coffee and matcha at the same time throughout the day. I cannot get energized, I cannot sleep properly, and I wake up at 3 a.m. with full alert, completely destroying my circadian rhythm. I replay conversation that happened 4 days ago with someone on a Zoom call, trying to resolve that situation or thinking, how could I say it differently so they will take it differently? Like, you know? And the worst thing that actually happening is that the momentum is dropping, the performance is worse and worse because I keep avoiding making decisions, and the bare minimum is hard. The things that took you 5 minutes, you are sluggish and you're dragging your feet around it for 2 hours, and waking up feels like a chore that you need to do, and everything in your day feels flat, and you go about your day and you feel like meh. These are the consequences that actually I face personally, and many of my clients kept facing as well before we did this work. So if you are thinking about, should I be doing this, identifying my layer, identifying my emotional needs, and then taking the time to identify the action that will fulfill that need and that will restore me in a couple of minutes instead of days, well, it's up to you. But these are the consequences that are happening because of that. So you can either be passive and use passive approach coach, or you can confront this burnout, exhausted, depleted emotional state and shrink that time of recovery to a couple of minutes instead of days, hoping and waiting until your body somehow, your brain finds some way and shape and form to fulfill that need. Now, it does not end here. Yes, now you have full sequence. That's amazing. You have a statement, you know that you are burned out. That's awareness. Second, you identify the layer. It is going to be emotional, physical, or mental. And then you know the confronting formula for you to confront that emotional state. And remember, most business owners on the market are just in the step number 1, which is awareness. They just state, I am burnt out. That's it. So you are past that right now. So here is what you can expect to happen when you start using this. First of all, at the beginning, it might feel a little bit mechanical, but that's okay. That's completely fine. And here is why. Because your brain is learning new sets of actions, changing and connecting the new pathways in your brain, which takes around 4 to 5 times. Now, within the 3, 4, 5 days of doing this consistently, you will notice that the recovery time compresses significantly. So once you get in the groove of this, taking these actions, and you already know everything is identified there, like it takes maximum 10 to 20 minutes tops for you to get back to yourself, be sharp, be energized, and make decisions in your business. Next thing that you can expect after doing this is that your week gets quieter. Then you notice that you start making business decisions from a more calm and grounded emotional state. And at the end, you will have more capacity to take on more projects or taking on more business demands despite the fact that the frequency of making these decisions is higher. Now, if you want me to help you install this sequence to your life so that you can prevent the burnout, watch this video where I break down exact plan how I'm helping established online business owners become secure and stable CEO, so then they learn how to lead without losing it.